Hello, my lovely Leos. I heard a song today as I was getting ready to do this for you. Comes from an old nursery rhyme. Maresy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambs at ivy. A kiddly ivy too, wouldn't you? And when I looked it up, of course, there's no great meaning to it. What I was getting from it when I first started hearing it was the next phrase is, it may sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit jumbled and jivey, but if mares eat oats and does eat oats, then little lambs eat ivy, as opposed to mares eat oats and dozy dotes and little lambs eat ivy, a kiddle eat ivy do, wouldn't you? And so what that struck me was it's really a matter of how you look at something, how you hear something that is going to determine its meaning, right? Yes, it can be, in this particular case, it can be jumbled and sound silly, or it can be actual real sentences and phrases that are coming out. So what I was getting with you, Leo, is that whatever situation you're going through right now, again, September 1st, or whenever you get it, and it won't be for every Leo, but for those that I'm reading for, it feels like some of you at this point in time are looking at some things, and you're being asked now by Spirit to consider looking at it in a different way. And the cards that I pulled directly after that seem to be really following up on that theme. Now, the first card that you get is betrayal. And listen to this. If we didn't take any of these behaviors personally, would we perceive them as betrayals? Mares eat oats and does eat oats. Mares eat oats and does eat oats, right? Different perspective, different attitude. So you're being asked here. The betrayal card is interesting to me because as I read it, listen to see if any of these things make sense to you. Acts of betrayal can range from behaviors which make us feel that someone's being unreliable, through to disloyal, and all the way to being malicious. The scope of possible acts that this one word covers is huge. Question: if we didn't take any of these behaviors personally, would we perceive them as betrayals? Well, what does it mean to take something personally? Well, in this case, that somebody meant to hurt us, that we deserved better, that that what they did was specifically because of us or about us, as opposed to whatever was going on with them in that moment. Something that we may have triggered, but not necessarily about who we are as an individual. So when we can step back and not take it personally, and you're being asked neutrality, take a neutral energy around things, is that when you can do that, it allows you to consider possibilities about why the other person might be the way they are, and it gives you the opportunity to choose a response that is not necessarily defensive or attacking or offensive. It can give you the opportunity to really see things in a different light. Now, when I say don't take things personally, it doesn't have to be even that we think somebody is doing something against us because it's us. It can be the fact that we feel as though on some level, whether we feel it or whether we know it, or whether it's just an immediate automatic response, that there is something old in us that is getting triggered, that is about us, and we project that back onto the other person. So for example, if I've been feeling overwhelmed by somebody coming at me with too much information, with a big presence, I might feel as though they're trying to take over my life. I might feel as though they are being too controlling. Maybe because I've had a lot of controlling people in my life, and instead of being able to back off and say, this is about them being whatever, helpful in a way that makes them feel powerful, helpful in a way that makes them feel valuable. Instead of looking at it like that, I take it as about me. Me. It's about me being, having my life overtaken, when that it's not necessarily them. Now, if I respond to that, chances are I'm going to respond with aggression, right? In that moment, I can do that. Then, of course, we get the lovely experience of, and how do they respond if I act aggressively to them? Do they get triggered? So this is where it can really happen in a kind of like action-reaction response, where things can become convoluted. Whereas if we were able to, everybody step back and say, okay, if in this moment I didn't take it personally, if in this moment then it allowed them not to take it personally, how many friendships would be sustained? How many friendships would deepen because of the ability to acknowledge the vulnerability of getting triggered and the inclination to act and react? It's so powerful. It's such a powerful thing to be able to not take it personally and to step back when one has taken something personally and choose to be neutral about it and ask questions of self, okay? Typically, when we react that way, it's because we're in a state of resistance to something that feels as though it's pushing on us, something that we don't like. So we resist against it. Whereas if we can step back from it, all those personality issues, defensiveness, egotistical stuff, pride, arrogance, any of those things that can come up as a defense mechanism, we can step back away from them, instead deepen our understanding of our responses, of our reactions, so that the next time we can respond, they also get to do the same thing. But when we get into that kind of like that, it's very difficult to step back from it, because often that's when a lot of things are said that can be really hurtful and really hard to come back from. So Leos, whatever situation you're in, you're being told, as difficult as it is sometimes, you can choose, even if it's after the event of going, you can choose to step back and take a neutral position and say to yourself, if I weren't taking this personally, if I hadn't taken that comment personally or that situation personally as a statement about something in me, how could I see it differently? How could I have a new view of it? If I were willing to look at, this is also really important, Leo, if I were willing to look at what it said about me that I did react that way, what do I think the message was? That I wasn't important enough, that I was weak, that I was any list of negative things, negative judgments that you might feel were being imposed upon you. Chances are it's because maybe there was still some of that resonating in you about your own belief about yourself. So it's a huge and wonderful learning opportunity. And I really encourage you, even if it's around a situation that happened in the past that is coming up, you have the opportunity, coming up in a memory or coming up because of somebody coming back into your life, you have the ability to go back and look at this and learn from it and expand and grow beyond the ego defenses that are there. Now, I'm bringing up ego defenses. We all have them. Leo, you have very strong egos. So sometimes your defenses are much bigger and much faster and much more entrenched in that sense of Leo righteousness. Self-righteousness maybe sometimes. Sometimes, Leo. We all have it, but sometimes when fiery, strong egos, fixed signs like you have that, it can be really, really like a wall somebody doesn't want to breach. And sometimes that wall can stop you from looking at your own things, looking at your own stuff, which is kind of why you're here, is to look at that and grow from it. So you're being asked, look at wherever you feel your life is not as enriched as you'd like. Look at where you find yourself going back and playing out situations of betrayal, because that's the first card that came up. So I feel like this is important for some of you. Where do you feel like that has interrupted your life, has dulled a dream? Where has it shut you down and removed things that were positive from you? Either positive self-image or relationships that had been positive, potential dreams that you might feel tarnished because of fear of more betrayal. It's really valuable to look at that, because you don't want that energy hanging around, causing you to burn bridges that don't need to be burnt, and that prevents you from dreaming bigger than you have dreamed. Okay, Leos? This is a very loving message, actually, and it's really an encouragement for you to look at any of these things that have really triggered your ego responses, to look at them as opportunities for more growth and more liberation, because Leos, you have got great energy. You've got great positive energy. When you can harness it in a way that is less attached to defensiveness and to resistance of like kind of resistance, the more you can move into that sense of expanded flow in your life in a way where all of these great qualities really just get to blossom and bloom. So this is what you're being encouraged to do, Leo. Take care.